the prevalence of it in Nigeria is quite alarming. Mr. Famanki wants to come in.
Let me come in terms of what we're talking now, the baby trafficking, the sales of eggs or whatever. Now, when we look at the trafficking law of 2003 as amended, one of the things we did in the new law was that we came in with removal of organ. And with the coming in of the law, we've been able to apprehend a lot of people who are actually baby harvesting because they harvest baby. Most of the times, these women are deceived. Even those who paid for the twins, who paid for the single baby, they are deceived. They have a method where they are giving African concussion and they start having some symptoms that looks like they are pregnant. Their tummy will start protruding. And then once they get the person they're going to harvest the baby, they give them the same EDD date. I have cases in the court now. We have a case where we rescued children from houses that their babies were to be harvested for people. And the cases are in high court. There are a lot of them that were sent to us from the embassy because we're able to look at the scenario of the birth of the child and we know it is baby harvested. So the egg also is another part. And in our sensitization, we've also taken it to the grassroots that look, men and women, there is a simple way to know that they are about to harvest a baby for you. Once we give 2 words, we call it 2S. The first S is no scan is a scan. That if you are asked not to carry out any scan, know you are being scammed. The people are deceiving you to take your money. Because the first law in baby harvesting is that the woman is asked not to go for scan. And that all antenatal to delivery is in the house of that native herbalist or the coordinating doctor. Everything is done. Even if a woman comes in from the United States and is assisted to get pregnant in Nigeria, she has to come down to that village, either in Akure or in Port Harcourt. That person who assisted her by giving her those concussion is the only person who can also help her to deliver the baby.
Okay.
So once you see that, it is a sign that you have been deceived. Because on the day you are asked to come and give birth, the first thing is they give you the ED date. On the date of your delivery, they are the one who will call you, it is time for you to come and deliver.
But are we not talking about a situation where the person doesn't know what is being done or what is going to be done to her? No. In most cases, these young girls consent. Exactly. They consent to this.
Once
for an agreed fee.
So, once an adult, I consent to this. You are both criminally responsible.
Yes, that's it. They are criminally responsible.
I mean,
that's why
there are those you that are taking and you that you are receiving. You know,
most of those children, now we have a lot of these children that we've taken from parents. They are presently with government while they are being prosecuted. They try to say they don't know, but there are facts that the reality is if you are actually pregnant, you will know.
Let's quickly bring in the role of local authority, and I wanted to answer that as someone who runs an NGO. You recall the case of Ese Oruru earlier this year. That was just a unique case amongst quite a number of others that we also learnt about. She was abducted, forced into another religion, she got pregnant, and then until it became a matter of social media campaign, even the culprit was not arrested. What's the role of local chiefs, obas? Because there was also a case of a lady they said was suspected to have been kept in a palace in the north. What do you see them play? What role do you see them play?
For example,
nipping things on the bud?
For example, the obas, the Ezes, the traditional rulers, the Bales are our strategic partners. We work with them in our sensitization campaigns. And like we said, we can only tell Nigerians what not to do. You know, we take our consultative forums to their villages, to their communities. We train them in vernacular, depending on the location we are talking about. And we tell them these things. We sign social contracts, and our social contracts are telling them, don't do this. We decide in this our community, we will not do this, we will not do female genital mutilation, we will not engage our children in early marriage, we will not do this. So the NGOs, especially my NGO, Women Consortium of Nigeria, that's what we do. They are our strategic partners. We even go as far as inviting the immigration, the police. We get funding from international agencies to train the police, and then we work with the local governments. We work with people around those areas, like the transport operators, who are like those who transport the people. So every stakeholder who is involved in this, we call them together, teachers, students, and all that.
Okay, human trafficking, as we have it today, has many faces. There's the actual trafficking in humans, you know, for maybe purposes of labor or sex-related activities. There is the other one we talked about, the removal of organs and all of that. Which one is more peculiar to Nigeria?
Thank you. When you look at human trafficking and the country we call Nigeria, the trafficking of our children and our women for sexual exploitation is the most common type of human trafficking in Nigeria, followed closely with the use of children for labor exploitation. For labor exploitation. But I want to say one thing. I just want to make a point with regards to what the learned lawyer said, that poverty. I beg to disagree a bit, because when we look at the statistics we have of rescued victims and those that are trafficked for sexual exploitation in Nigeria, you mentioned that most of them are from Edo State. Edo State is not the poorest in Nigeria. And also where children are trafficked for labor exploitation, those states are not the poorest in Nigeria. So there are other factors responsible, not actually poverty.
Okay. So we cannot isolate poverty as a major factor, but it is a factor. It is a factor. Yeah.
Because you are not going to allow your child to go trafficking. I mean, you're not going to sell your child to Italy for such a business, would you?
But he won't do it also, even if he was poor. Even if he was poor, he wouldn't do it.
When you cannot isolate poverty. Seriously, until you are there, before you can actually say.
Why
because I've seen people die because they could not afford to eat.
Now, why I said it's not only because of poverty.
No, you don't seem to.
I'm coming.
We just say this.
I know.
You
see, when we look at it, there are other states that they are very poor, and they are not into human trafficking for sexual exploitation. We have cases where people sell their houses in order to send their children daughters to Italy for sexual exploitation. Those groups are not poor. So we want to look at it, that what are the other reasons? We've gone to the extent of, we say, catch them young. When we go to schools in Edo State, we'll say we need to get to the victim, to the vulnerable before the trafficker. Because a lot of them become vulnerable for other reasons of the push and pull factor. Now, if you look at the town in Benin, you see a lot of beautiful houses built by women that comes back from the sexual exploitation. So that social exhibition of wealth from sources known and unknown that people see encourage even people to traffic their children. I've seen cases of girls that has finished from the university and they traffic them. I've seen a case of a mother who trafficked her daughter,
knowing full well this girl is going to be used for prostitution or sale. Okay, having said that, would we be able to reduce human trafficking if prostitution is legalized in Nigeria?
Let me say one thing. We will not, because one thing is, there are people who are prostitutes in Nigeria and they are trafficked. And so that comes to the point of trafficking, where we say the consent of individual is null and void. And an adult, a lady who walks the street of Allen Avenue, soliciting for men, is met by a lady and said, "Beautiful lady, what are you doing on this street?" He said, "I'm hustling." "How much do you make a day?" He said, "I make between 6,000 to 10,000 daily." And he said, "Look, you're too beautiful to be here. I can take you to a place where you make 50 to 40,000 and get consent because she is aware she's going for prostitution.